another video. This one I'm just showing y'all a finished inking of splash page I've been working on for a couple of days now. Trying to figure out how long exactly it takes me to do a page. I've done a couple of them all the way to the end, but this is the first one I've recorded. And I think this video is just covering over the inking part of it, which could be finals depending on how you if you want to do a color page or not, or if I want to end up wanting to do a color book. I haven't decided yet, but between the pencils and the inks on this, I think I've got probably close to 10, if not 12 to 14 solid hours of just drawing into it. I can't remember how long it took me to pencil it. I think it was a couple of days, but that could be, a couple of days of me just watching TV and not really paying attention to what I'm doing, or, you know what I mean, or actually knuckling down and doing it. So that's one of the things I like about doing these records is able to know exactly how much time you're spending on doing stuff. So yeah, this was just a big page I wanted to do for the game I'm working on, and this is the two main characters in a fight scene. I just wanted to show them whooping ass over some generic characters and just seeing what that would look like. And I've had a picture in my head for a while, but I wanted to show the differences between the two main characters just in one big shot, and that hopefully is conveyed in the way I got this set up. You got your main character, which I pushed to the background, and he's kind of this strong. He's a little taller than most people, kind of a Batman of the world, and he just can bash through people without really caring much about it. And whereas player 2 is going to be this girl who is more flexible, a lot more agile. She's in the picture. I've got her jumping around, wrapping her leg around this guy's head, and then shooting him in the face. And I'm hoping that really conveys the different personalities between the two, too. I don't think you're going to see a lot of the knight's personality in this image. What I'm hoping to put into the book is he's going to be, you get so many of these characters, especially male characters, that are stoic. And I wanted to have a little bit of levity with this one. I wanted him to be kind of the one that's could take it or leave it. He's not really serious as far as, what he's doing, but he is. He's just been doing it for so long. It's kind of more like a job than an adventure at this point. So, whereas the girl character is kind of the dark and brooding one. She's had a hard life, and she doesn't trust easily, and I'm hoping that turns out to be interesting when it's all said and done. I gotta figure out how to write it too. I'm not much of a writer, so we'll see how that turns out. And I did the inking process, and this one I got it spread out into 4 different sits I did. All of them are about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And you'll see where I jump back and forth from the stone texture in there. I do that when I start, because I don't like to start on something I know I want to look good, like her hair or her eyes or whatever. Because if I do that when I start, I haven't warmed up yet, so I'll end up redoing it anyway, because after I draw for about, half hour or so, I find that whatever I'm drawing at that time is way better than the shit I was drawing when I started, so I try to draw crap. A lot of times I'll just do a quick character image on a different quote-unquote sheet of paper, like a different file, and usually won't even finish them, but until I feel like I'm ready to tackle what I'm really there to work on, I try to just work on something else. But it's one thing that makes these backgrounds a little better to play around with is because I hate doing backgrounds. You just start, you know, filling in the backgrounds with details, and before you know it, you'll be ready to go on some of the cooler stuff, like what I'm doing here. You know, it's not a perfect system, but it works for me so far. I also did a sped up version of this with a song behind it. Thought it'd be a little bit more interesting to watch than me having me talk over it, but we'll see. I don't know. Um, yeah, I'm not much of a hair guy. That's something I've been trying to get better at. Texturing hair you can go one way or the other. You sometimes it feels like you're spending way too much time on details or not enough. In the process of doing this one, I ended up finding a new brush that I like a lot more than the previous brush I was using, which is, I'm going to stop using it here in probably about, looks like 10 seconds or so. I'll have to point it out when this happens, but the one I was using narrowed down a little too far with light pen pressure. Yeah, see right here, I think I changed brushes, and I didn't really care for that. They both do the same thing, but this one just seemed to be easier for me to feather my lines with, which is a big deal for me. And that's a big part of this inking portion, is making sure your line weights aren't all the same. That's something that I look for when I'm going over any of my stuff, is trying to make sure that your lines have a thick to thin to them. And it's something I've been practicing more and more as I do more of this inking stuff, and trying to do a lot of the big portions of them in one pass. It seems to come out better if you can pull it off. I haven't really gotten that far yet, or gotten that good yet, so I tend to drag a few times down and then having to go back and erase. I mean, it produces about the same results, but one's faster and one's cleaner. So, gotta do it that way. Here I am, sticking the shadow of the arrowhead over this guy's head. I was trying to figure out where my light source was at. You'll see that there are sections of it that I got it quite right, but there are other sections where I cheat and throw my light source on, seems like it's coming from the other direction. But I just thought it would look cool if that arrowhead was casting a shadow over him, just to show how close it really was to his head. And hands. Hands are so goofy. They're one way or the other. Either they look really good or really bad. I think that guy's hand there looked pretty good, but then you go back over to her knuckle over top of that bow, I don't think works quite as well. And I like this image quite a bit, but I still don't think I got her body quite right. I feel like she's a little too tall. But I've been playing around with this character for quite some time, and when you think about a character enough and ask yourself enough questions about him or her, you start to really envision something in your mind. Something starts to take place, and I've gone through. Her redesign has probably been a lot more than that of the Knights, and I've been thinking about both of those characters since the beginning. Pretty close. I think she's gone through probably about 6 or 7 different iterations, and he's been through. He hasn't changed much since the start. I had 2 or 3 different versions of him when I first was drawing him in the first week, and since then he hasn't really changed much. I actually have taken some of the detail away more than added which I've done with her, as I've been adding detail. With him, I've been kind of stripping him down. He had a big crest eagle on his chest. I threw that out. I had a big symbol on his helmet. I took that away. Really, about the only fine detailed stuff that I left is the texturing on his Under Armour there. The rest of it's all been fairly taken away. And here I am starting up again. See, I'm going back and playing around a little bit with brushes. Sketchbook Pro has a bunch of stuff that I haven't even really touched much, between smudge brushes and sharpening brushes and all different kinds of effects you can get. I mean, it's nowhere near as deep as Photoshop can be, but it's pretty close. But I play around with them every once in a while and see if I can get different effects that I care for. Normally I stick to just the basic pencils, to tell you the truth. I mean, the pencil and the ruler, it seems to work out for me, and the lasso tool, that speeds up about as fast as I can really make it and make it look good. You know, I've been reading up online of people that do these comic books professionally, and you know, doing the level of detail I have on here, and I think I'm actually pretty close to how fast a pro would be doing it in the field. I mean, I don't think I'm near as good. You know, I'm drawing what I want to draw. You know, they can draw whatever the hell they're told to, which is, I think, the difference between the pros and the novices. But as far as speed, I think I'm at least comparable, which is a good thing. And, you know, speed will only increase with time. So yeah, I was trying to come up with a good wood texture for these doors. It seems like I struggle with the smaller stuff more than the bigger stuff. You know, about a year ago when I started drawing, I really, you know, was trying to tackle characters as much as I could because I was really bad at them. And it seemed like everybody wanted to, you know, be able to draw that stuff. And it seemed like that would be the more fun stuff to do too, but so I hit the books and started finding ways to do proportions and, you know, anatomy properly. I don't think I'm a pro by any means, but I'm pretty decent. At least when I draw a person, it looks like a person. And I'm gotten to the point where sometimes I don't even look at reference material at all, which was a big leap for me. I would always have to look at something else in order to draw anything close to looking right before. So that's showing improvement, at the very least. And here I am doing that texture over top of his body again. It looks like we're wrapping up here. You know, give me some feedback. Let me know if these videos are too long or if I drone on about anything specific you want to know about with this stuff. Because I'd be happy to fill you in on some stuff and just focus on that to explain it for you if you'd like me to. But until then, I don't know, shoot me an email or something. I'm thinking about starting to post these online, but I haven't decided yet. But let me know.